Dating girls that have strict parents is one of the most entertaining things that you could do because Life 360 is an actual thing, okay? All the girls out there that get tracked by their parents, I feel like to the mile, to the centimeter, they know exactly where you're at. And they get notifications. It's like, your daughter is in these streets, let me tell you. Not to mention the amount of anxiety these girls have just by looking over their shoulder and stuff. I think the funniest thing is like if they're in the car with you and Life 360 is tracking you. Like if you go a little outside of where they normally go, they get a text to call right away. Don't forget to follow. I'm kind of smart sometimes. And also subscribe to me too.
It's so crazy because strict parents won't let their kids do literally anything in high school. They won't let them go have fun with friends. They won't let them go out like on a school night, whatever. Like they made their life dry as hell all of high school. Now you've let this child that has been shut out from the world go to college and you think they're following the same rules from back at home? Sir, your daughter's getting fucked by her fourth football player this week. And your son is doing crack and running through condoms like they're napkins. No kid is worse than a kid that didn't get to do anything in high school.
Talk about how I was 24 when I stopped seeking approval from my parents. Was I embarrassed of this at the time? Yes. I remember telling my first boyfriend that I wasn't allowed to date and he was like, aren't you 14? And 10 years later, at 24, I was still in the same place. What this looked like was me doing everything to please my parents, like getting good grades, choosing my major in college, but also a lot of lying to keep my image. Lying of who I was dating, who I was friends with. Strict parents make rebellious kids. My college experience was the prime example. So fast forward, I'm moving back home after college. I was really scared of that. Graduation day, we went out to dinner and I had a conversation with them about how I would like to be treated as an adult. I literally said, I did what you asked of me. All you wanted me to do was to get a college degree and get a job and be successful, and that's what I'm doing, and so I need to be treated as an adult now. Keep in mind, Latino household, they wanted me to come back home after college, leave until I get married. They agreed, but it was not that way at all. It got worse, actually. I started lying a lot more, and my mom got a lot stricter. I remember taking a trip to visit my boyfriend's family in Mexico, and my mom had no idea about that, but she was texting me over and over and bombarding me with messages about where I am and who am I with. I'm out of eyebrow pencil. What am I gonna do my eyebrows with? Let's try black. So at this point, our main issue really was my husband, boyfriend at the time, who they just did not like, not because any personal reasons, but because I was dating somebody. It could have been anybody and they wouldn't have liked him. So it was around 24 where I was just so tired of trying to please my parents because nothing I was doing was right. I kind of had an epiphany where it was like, if nothing I'm gonna do is gonna be right in their eyes, then might as well just live my life. At this point, I was going to therapy already because I just had no idea what to do. I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because it gets worse.
Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. How you all doing? So today's topic is on strict parenting. Yeah, a certain lady made a video and she spoke about how parents that are strict with their daughters are gradually turning their daughters into whores and sluts. Yeah, she said that, and she narrated what her observations has been so far, because she said she's a coach to a cheerleading group in a high school, and she was actually at the event, the cheerleading event, where she made this video, when she made the video, sorry, and she was also sharing her observations with us. Okay guys, let's talk about strict parenting. What do you think about that? I think too much of everything is bad. We should learn to be moderate with things we do, honestly. Too much of everything is bad. You cannot over shelter your child because you need to let them know the reality of life. And God that created us did that for a reason. If you're a male, you're bound to feel attracted to females, vice versa. I know these days people have coined out their own stuff, but anyways, that's not the focus of this video. In this video I'm focusing on male and female. Yeah, so yeah, and some things are natural to get, so you trying to prevent your kids from knowing what it is and from the natural occurrence that they would experience, it's not the best way to go about it. For me, I think sex education is the way to go about it, talking about it and letting them know and giving them a little bit of freedom. Being overly strict is only going to make things worse, and you will end up having kids that keep secrets from you and do things in private because of the fear of your reaction should you hear their stories and all that. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. So let's go ahead and watch the full video.
So I want to talk to parents, in particular parents of black daughters who are teenagers, who do not allow your daughters to date or even acknowledge that they are interested in the opposite sex when they're 16, 17, 18, 14, 10, when they start to notice, which biologically, which like it's just nature, that they're going to start noticing the opposite sex, because that's what we do as humans, as animals. So I want to share with you guys what I'm observing right now. So I am a cheer sponsor, and I'm also an elementary school teacher, but I'm a cheerleading coach for a high school, a very popular high school. And we are waiting for our football game to start. There's another team that's playing on the field before us. So I know a lot of these kids. There's probably about 3,000 teenagers that are out here, and just through my works of working with young ladies and girls, some of these little girls I've had, or some of these teenagers I had as little girls, as cheerleaders and in other programs, and the ones whose parents are working the hardest to raise them to be nice, upstanding, honorable young ladies. Let me tell you what I'm seeing. So the pattern that I'm seeing is the girls with the very strict parents, the ones who don't want their daughters to keep their nose in the books and don't be looking at them boys. And we know that we do that as black parents and black people, because we know the legacy of low achievement that there is for men in our community. And so we know, and we have been dragged as black women dating black men. Black men know they have dragged. So these black fathers, they know how dirty and low down that they have been to girls, that they say, oh, I would never let my daughter date, but not thinking of the fact that you need to help your daughter find someone to date, and you need to mentor other young men so that your daughter will have someone to grow up to date. So what we see in turn is, I had to pause because one of those young ladies just walked up. The girls out here, and I've seen, and I counted them, I saw 17 girls that are real strict parents. Some of them are cheerleaders, not on my squad, but they're just here at this event. And I'm sorry, because there are people walking up, and I don't want them to hear what I'm saying. But the nicest girls, the ones whose parents are keeping them sheltered, I should say the most sheltered girls, that's what I'll say. They are around corners, petting on, rubbing on boys, boys reaching off into their clothes and their skirts. And the girls whose parents allow them to have a boyfriend, guess what? They're dating nice boys. The nice boys. The quarterback of the football team, whose dad is a doctor and the mom is a minister. The president of the debate team, who already has a scholarship to Harvard already in the first semester of his senior year. Those are the boys that the girls whose parents allow them to date. Because let me tell you what, when you don't allow your daughter to date and she has to sneak around behind your back, because I can guarantee she got a boyfriend. My parents were the strictest. Oh my God, they were strict. My mother didn't work, and like I couldn't even go out the house. Like, girls can go out and they have a curfew. I didn't have that. All I did was stay at home. And if I went to a football game to be a cheerleader, my mom and dad were sitting right there watching me to make sure, I guess, that no black male wolf would get me and attack me. Now, of course, they waited until I got 18 and then sent me off with a 26-year-old predator to date, but we won't even go there because I've talked about it before. So the girls whose parents allow them to admit that they are human and that they are attracted to the opposite sex, which they're going to expect them to by the time they get 21, they're going to expect them to know everything about being a woman and to go and find a nice young man. The nice young men are already dating young ladies whose parents are allowing them to date. So I'm seeing the president of the debate team sitting there with a little girlfriend that's one of the little cheerleaders, holding her hand and talking to her, and we're like, hey, you guys get away from each other, kind of playing with them. I'm looking at the little quarterback of the football team. He's over there talking to a little girl that's on the dance team. And the girls that are sheltered, like I said, they are around corners with the police and everybody running them off, just looking like complete, I won't say the word because we know how TikTok censor black women, but you turn your daughters into sluts. You do. You turn them into that because they have to sneak behind your back in order to be human. If you look at any type of medical journal, any type of studies, they're supposed to be attracted to the opposite sex. And by you saying, keep your hands in the books, and what, you're going to beat them and make them not. If that's the case, you could beat your daughter and she wouldn't have her cycle. If you don't want your daughter to have a period, you can beat her. That is the same premise of beating your daughter because she likes a boy or is interested in a boy. And it's not that you care about her being interested in a boy. You just know what the little black boy is probably going to do to her. But the nice, honorable little black boys, they come to your house and knock on your door and say, sir, can I date your daughter? The ones that's walking around with their pants hanging off, the ones that ain't playing football, that's not a part, that's not in a band, that's not doing anything, let me tell you what they're doing. They're around there with your sheltered daughters reaching off into their clothes. One of my cheerleaders has just walked up, and so I have to step away, but I'll be back. Okay, so this is really sweet. So while I'm talking to you, and I wish I had kept this recording, because one of my little girls that's a part of the Spirit Squad came over and said, my boyfriend's mom is at the gate, and can I go over and say hi to her? Of course she can. But the little shelter girls, the one whose dad is a minister of the mega church around here, his daughter's over there, was over there, doing everything, might as well have been on the street corner. You turn your daughters in the hose when you try to keep them from their natural tendencies as a human to be attracted to the opposite sex. So that's all I have to say, and I wish that we would stop doing that and shaming little black girls for being human.
Okay, let's talk about it. Attraction is normal, is a natural occurrence. It happens naturally. Females are bound to feel attracted to males. I'm not talking about other sexual orientation right now. I'm only focusing on the male and the female gender. Yeah, so don't get me wrong. Yeah, and parents trying to prevent their daughters from feeling attracted to a boy, and exploring that, I think it has its repercussion. I would always say things should be done in moderation. I'm not saying a child that is 10 years old, 13 years old should start getting into serious relationship and being sexually active. That's not what I'm advocating for. What I'm here for is this. Women, mothers, fathers should have the right conversation with their kids, be it a guy or a lady, a girl or a boy. Have the right conversation with them when they get to a certain age, probably 10 years. Talk to me about relationship, about sexual attraction, about puberty, because at that stage some people start experiencing puberty from 8 years, 9 years. At that stage you'll start experiencing a lot of changes in their body, and they'll start having feelings that they never had before towards the opposite sex. It's normal, it's natural, and then they'll start having this urge to explore. So you as a parent, it's your duty to lead your kids in the right direction, not cutting them off, not making them to suppress that feeling, that urge, that curiosity. It's not going to help, because if you're not there for them, someone else will be there for them. That's the truth. If you don't lead them in the right path, someone else will do that. Probably not in the right path, but in the wrong way, the wrong direction. So I don't know if African parents feel shy when it comes to discussing sexual stuff with kids, which for me, it doesn't make sense. You are their parents. You're supposed to lead them in the right direction in every ramification, in every way in their life. You're supposed to discuss everything to them, because those kids are naive. Kids are innocent. Kids have no idea of what's going on. A lot of things are new to them. So when you fail to show up in a certain area, someone else will do that for you. If you're a parent to a girl child, I would say you have a serious conversation with your daughter. I'm sure we heard what the lady said. Those girls that their parents allow them to date, those girls that are dating openly, are going for good guys, because that's what is bound to happen, because they wouldn't want to bring home guys that are not responsible, because their parents would ask. Their parents are supervising them, so they know the kind of parents they have. So because of that, they will go for guys that are acceptable by their parents. The ones that your parents told them not to date at all, what do you think will happen? They'll just take any guy that is readily available that wants to give them that love and give them listening ears. And most of the times they fall into the wrong hands. So it's not a taboo to let your kids date, but you have to know the stage in their life, the age you allow them to date, and give them the do's and don'ts in the relationship, because you're still young. For you can have this guy as your friend, you guys can date, know this, know that, this is what you're supposed to know. On no occasion should you do this. You guys can visit each other. To get, let's hear what the next speaker has to say.
You turn your daughters into hoes when you try to keep them from.
I promise you, go back and watch the video. It's good. I promise. It's lengthy, but it's worth the watch. So I talk about this all the time because everything she said in that video, I agree with. The little girls who have to go around sneaking around, they getting snubbed. And y'all know exactly what I mean, and then when they get older, like a lot of y'all grown women now have friends, female friends who can never find a man, or are always single, or you know what I'm saying, or they're always meeting the bad one, or not the right one. And that's because once they finally enter whatever age their parents feel like they're old enough to date, which is usually after they're technically adults anyway, they don't know how to have healthy interactions with men, with respectful men. They don't know how to be courted because they're used to being sneaking around or being, felt on or whatever else, as opposed to little girls who had the boy who came to the house and asked permission to take her to the dance or take her to the movies or the football game or whatever. Those little girls grow up and understand what courtship and what being dated really means. Whereas the girls who had to sneak around now, they're in their early 20s even. They're grown women now. And within 2 to 3 weeks, they trying to have sex. And y'all really don't get that. Within a couple of months of knowing somebody, and I don't care what nobody say, if you're really trying to be courted and trying to have a courtship and trying to date somebody, even within the first few months, no, y'all should not be having sex. That's why the women who get it, and those who don't look stupid and end up single. And a lot of times this is how, I'm not even gonna get into the whole other thing, but this is how y'all end up, with a collection of children even by other people. It's about healthy relationships, and it starts really early. If you never know and understand your worth, and this is part of young ladies understanding their worth, being courted, when they're allowed to be courted, they understand their worth and they understand how people are supposed to come at them. But it's just crazy at how a lot of people really don't get it. They don't understand it. So a lot of y'all who are not going to agree with this video, I know y'all going to be under here arguing with yourselves. Have at it. But it's the truth. The girls who have to sneak around typically don't have meaningful relationships with men later on in life until it takes something to teach her or someone. But they just don't get it. They do not get it at all. Whereas the ones who are allowed to be courted, they understand what it means to have a courtship, even if they understand it's okay to date multiple people at the same time as well, because they're being courted. And then they understand how to have those lasting and meaningful relationships when it's time. The girls who have to sneak, literally, it's a pattern. Look at your friends and look at your single friends who are single and happily dating or in a relationship versus the ones who just never can find the right man. And ask them if their parents were strict. I bet you, man, I could put money on it. The ones who had the strict parents are the ones who they literally have no luck in dating. And this is why.
Okay, what do you think about that? Do you agree with her theory? Is it hypothesis? Which one should we even call it? Do you agree with that? I think she has some iota of truth to what she said. I think when you start dating early, not the secret dating, the open one that your parents gave you go ahead to do, I think you get to learn better. You get to have a better experience over time to get, and your focus would most likely be on the person's character, or how do we build a healthy relationship, having proper communication, focusing on the courting period, not all about sex. Oh, okay, we're dating, it's all about sex. So I get her point. If your parents don't let you date openly, most likely those girls will just be hopping onto men that just want to sex them. Yeah, it happens a lot. So if you're a parent, I think this is a video for you to pick one or two from and learn. it's not all about being strict. I understand that parents were once kids and parents were once teenagers. They know what it is, they've experienced that before. So a lot of parents are projecting, a lot of parents are scared, a lot of parents are traumatized. They're just worried that what happened to them during their time might be a repeat with their kids. So because of that, they just go 100% strict on their kids. For me, I don't think that's the best way to handle it. I think moderation is something a lot of parents should explore rather than being 100% strict and overly sheltering your kids. This is what I think. So I have a video coming up for for kids that are struggling to transition from high school to college when they finally move away from their parents. Let's hear what this lady has to say.
As someone that has now experienced 2 years in college and someone that comes from being the oldest in an immigrant household with 2 very strict parents, I know a couple things when it comes to that transition from coming from an overly strict household to college. And let me tell you, that transition is not simple at all. And because of that, I want to give you guys some tips before you head into college so that you can enjoy your time but still be on track. Because I know you guys want to have fun, but your freshman year really does set you up for the rest of your college experience. And I really don't want you guys messing up. Unless you are on winter break, spring break, or it's like your homecoming week, please do not try to stay out too late on the weekdays. The weekends, y'all can stay up until 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I don't really care. But when it comes to the weekdays, please try not to stay out past 12. The only reason why I'm saying this is because you have class the next day. And if you miss class, you miss assignments or you miss tests. And again, your freshman year is your easiest year and you need your grades to be good because that GPA is going to take a lot of time to raise it back up if it's down. Just letting you know. Number 2, if you are not already on birth control, if you came from that type of household, put yourself on birth control. I don't really care what type, but please put yourself on birth control or at least wrap it up. Because again, I know how it is in an overly strict household. And when you have college, there's a lot of boys, there's a lot of freedom. But I'm saying this only because I've seen this happen in real life to real people. They either end up getting something that they don't want or they end up getting pregnant before their time. And you can have fun, do what you want to do, but be safe about it. And have those precautions in state in case something may happen. Because again, I want y'all to have fun, but I want y'all to be safe while having fun. So like I said, wrap it up, please and thank you. And then my final tip for this video, you need to test that limit. You need to test the waters. Because again, coming from an overly strict household, your parents still think of you as a child. And again, you're not. So you need to show them that you are not a child. I know with me, my parents did not want me to get my nose pierced, but I did it anyways because I had to make them realize that I wasn't a child anymore. I can make my own decisions because it is my own body. It is my own life. And they won't realize that if you continue to follow their rules, even when you're in college. You gotta test the limits. And I'm not saying jump over, flip over. No, just a simple step over, 1 foot across the lawn. Do something that usually you wouldn't do so that you know that you are getting in your adult life, that you still love them and you still, want to listen to them, but you can make your own choices as well. Oh, I forgot to add this. If you decide to start drinking and, that's please, if it's going to be your first time, be around people that you trust. Also, learn your limits. Don't go all big and bold your first time, trying to impress people. Take your time because you don't want to end up being one of those people laid out on the floor. If you guys would like more advice, just let me know. But y'all be safe.
Okay, guys, so this is all I have to say in this video. I believe in moderation. If you have to be strict, be moderate about it. That's all I can say. Too much of everything is bad. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.